the monopoly illusion. Let's stop playing games and let's look at the absolute unfiltered truth. Look around you right now. The mainstream financial world is entirely obsessed with a massive illusion. They point to the stock market ticker. They point to digital banking screens. They tell you that this is where the true wealth lies. They are lying to you. We are taught from childhood to look at the United States dollar as the supreme global standard of value. But let's call it what it actually is. Monopoly money. Yes, you heard that correct. Monopoly money. It is a temporary printed piece of paper backed by nothing more than a fragile promise. It is an economic confidence game. Again, it is an economic confidence game. Right there, right here in my hands, I have the data breaking down the world's most elite billionaire portfolios. The mainstream media looks at these individuals and calls them the masters of the universe. They boast about their $90 billion net worths. But if you look at the mechanics underneath the hood, you realize in a very uncomfortable truth. These people are completely paper rich, but cash poor. So if a true global market freeze, that's my term, a global market freeze happens, if the digital banking grid locks up, or a systematic holiday is declared, they cannot access that wealth. They cannot walk up to a counter today and say, give me 100 million right now. It is a massive multi-bureaucratic process to liquidate those digital numbers. And if you try to disrupt their holdings all at once, their entire illusion of wealth collapses. Their paper assets are entirely the system dependent. So if the system turns off, their power or wealth turns off with it. Section 2, the presidential paradox. I want you to imagine a concrete scenario. Now, I'm not being disrespectful. I'm simply delivering the stone cold, absolute truth. Imagine the president of the United States traveling to the rural heart of East Africa, or into the ancient trade routes of India, or deep into the traditional Arabic world. Imagine him walking up to a tribal chief or a local community elder surrounded by his security detail, holding a briefcase full of $100 bills or digital bank statements. Imagine him saying, look at me, I control the global reserve currency. I am a paper billionaire. Do you know what these people will do? Again, do you know what these people will do? They will look him dead in the eye, look down at his briefcase, and they won't care at all. Because to them, that paper has zero true value. They will look at him and say, your paper cannot feed our families. Your digital ledger cannot sustain our communities. Here, our wealth is measured by what is real. It is measured by how many sheep we own. It is measured by our cattle. It is measured by our goats. It is measured by our physical gold and silver. This is real money. This is real money. This is real currency. What you brought across the ocean is just a stack of promises from a government thousands of miles away. Think about how deeply the Western world has gotten its entire concept of wealth mixed up. Because indeed it has. We have traded the timeless, unalterable laws of physical reality for electronic numbers on a screen. We have allowed the middleman institutional banks to convince us that we need their permission to be secure. But true wealth doesn't require a middleman. Again, true wealth doesn't require a middleman. True wealth carries zero risks. True wealth carries zero counterparty risk. So when you own the tangible asset physically in your possession, you are your own bank. Section 3, the timelessness of these tangible assets. Let's look at history. From the ancient days of Abraham through the height of the Egyptian dynasties, all the way up to the rise and fall of the Roman Empire, what was the very first universal currency? You have any ideas? Any thoughts? What's your comments on the matter? It wasn't a central bank note. It was gold and silver. Why? Because physical metal requires real human energy, real labor, real earthly resources to be extracted. You see, you cannot print an ounce of silver out of the thin air when a politician needs to fund a campaign. You cannot manipulate a gold bar into existence with a keystroke. Physical assets hold their ground because they are anchored in reality. History proves a brutal, repetitive law. Every single paper fiat currency ever created by mankind has eventually reverted to its true intrinsic value, which is zero. The Roman denarius was debased until it collapsed. The Weimar mark became wallpaper. The US dollar has lost 90% of its purchasing power since the Federal Reserve was created. Yet mainstream financial advisors keep telling you to leave all your capital inside their electronic web. They want you to buy digital assets you can never touch, sitting on platforms that can be frozen with a single regulatory update or a global infrastructure glitch. The deserts and the stars. Let's think about how people travel in different parts of the earth. In the West, here in the USA, everyone is relying on modern cars, electronic GPS systems, and paved highways. It looks incredibly advanced, does it not? But that travel is completely system dependent. So if the fuel supply line stops, the cars is useless. And if the satellite grid goes offline, the driver is completely lost. You see, let's go to the deepest deserts of the world. Look at how traditional cultures navigate the vast open sands. They don't rely on electronic infrastructure. They travel across the desert via the camel, a resilient living asset built for survival. They navigate purely by looking at the stars. The stars have never changed their positions. They cannot be altered by a corporate board. They cannot be hacked by a cyber attack. And they cannot be shut down by a central government. That navigation is sovereign. It is permanent. It is self-reliance. This is exactly how I approach my financial roadmap. The standard crowd is driving a digital car that is running out of gas. They are betting their futures on a paper system that is fracturing before our very eyes. But when you build a disciplined layout of physical assets, when you systematically convert paper monopoly money into tangible silver coins and gold, infused notes month after month, you are choosing to navigate by the stars, figuratively speaking. You are building a physical asset base that is completely off-grid. It doesn't matter what country you travel to. It doesn't matter what the stock market does on a Tuesday morning. And it certainly doesn't matter if a global market freeze locks down every bank in the West. Your wealth is real, portable, and universally recognized across borders on Earth. Isn't that true? Think about it today. How many people are still searching for people's treasures? Far as in Utah, Wyoming, that these people buried back in the 1700s. How many people are still searching for those buried treasures today? because it's worth significant value. The world's oceans alone contain some 1 trillion treasures still waiting to be found. Section 5, the sovereign ultimatum. Building this level of security takes a heavy amount of psychological discipline. It requires you to step away from the loud, hype-driven crowd and accept total, unconditional responsibility for your own asset protection. So when you eliminate the middleman, you become the supreme guardian of your own future. Every single coin you lock away, every piece of tangible value you secure is a direct building block for true, long-term, independent freedom. You are establishing a foundation that has allowed you to secure your household and protect your family without ever needing to ask an institution for permission. Let the crowd keep chasing their paper illusions. Let them boast about their digital net worths while sitting inside a fragile bubble, system-dependent bubble ready to pop. Because it is indeed ready to pop. And in time it will happen. But build your vault on physical reality. My logic is on these papers. The logic comes from my brain. The truth is in the history. The choice is entirely yours. Thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next layout.